This is Larry Jordan, the host of the Digital Production Buzz. The following interview is an excerpt from a recent program. To hear the entire program, visit digitalproductionbuzz.com. Starr Ackerman is a musician as well as a public relations and artist relations manager for music production software and hardware companies. She has an international reputation and joins us tonight to showcase the latest digital and mobile technology for music, podcasting, and network audio. Hello, Starr. It is good to have you with us. Oh, and I wanted to ask, before we got started, do you view yourself more as a musician or as a manager?
I'm a musician at heart, but I truly want to be able to spread the wave and inspire people to make music. So if that means managing the musician wave for the rest of the time that I'm alive, and that's my art, and that's my contribution to humanity, great.
Wearing your musician hat, what do you see as the future of new technology? Clearly, apps and all the stuff that we need to create music has gotten much cheaper and much easier to access, both in terms of hardware and distribution. What's the future?
I believe in the power of computer music, and I have for about as soon as I was introduced to it. And that was more than 15 years ago when I was able to take a CD-ROM and remix someone else's stuff. And I was introduced to it then. I believe in the power of computer music. So when you have more and more powerful computers, and those are your phones and your tablets and your devices, you actually have access to music-making products, software, and then also the connectors. So the mobility really is the future. When you can fit all of your stuff into a backpack and get on the plane and make music and then send it because you were working for Survivor. That's, one of IT Multimedia's first adopters of one of our iOS programs called Groovemaker. He was sending his music cues to Survivor and they were playing them right away. I mean, he was doing it from the plane. He was making them all the plane. So the future is really just more power to your computers of your mobile devices and more knowledge, in the industry of being able to get to that.
It sounds like you're saying that the technology allows us to extend our creativity as opposed to simply alter the sound. Is that a true statement?
Yeah.
Now, are these audio filters or are these sample clips or what is it exactly that we're getting, and who are the customers for IK Multimedia?
That's a loaded question. All right, so that's a three-part question. All right, so we do have basically filtering products. The core to say it properly, we have emulation products where you feed a signal in, and then it sounds like whatever you want it to sound like. So plug your guitar into your iPhone, and then you can set a preset, and for a Jimi Hendrix tone, it's all along the watchtower, and then you have the exact same tone as that in Amplitude. Amplitude is one of the leading applications for Mac and PC for all guitar and bass players. And it was ported to iOS. It was actually even on Steve Jobs' iPad when he had the keynote speech and showed the iPad to the world. Mm-hmm. Amplitude was on his iPad when he showed it to the world.
Very cool.
So we've had fans. It's been around a long time. It was the pro audio, but now we made it consumer. So anyone can make music, and we really want to keep continuing the wave.
One of the things that you guys were doing is you recently made some announcements about mobile technology. What are you doing there?
Mobile technology? Well, IK Multimedia is a leader in mobile technology. We have every connector and application available for musicians, broadcasters, podcasters, etc. There's over 78 music creation and broadcasting applications from IK Multimedia just in iOS alone. Now we are making everything for the Android market as well because we solved the latency issue with the iRead UI.
Would you consider the products that you're doing are designed for people who are getting into music and I want to say amateurs for lack of a better word, or is it for the high-end market, or do you span the spectrum?
Well, in the beginning, we were pro audio. So we've been in business for 19 years. And so it was, a select group of people, studio musicians that were paying $500, $600 for, an application that had maybe 6-7 gigabytes of material samples so they could play to their macro PC and, really use the software. And when I'm talking about the software samples, as you asked before, Eminem Booze Yourself, that was made with Sample Tank. That's one of our products. That was from Mac and PC. And at the time, Sample Tank was, $500. Now you can get Sample Tank on your iPhone for $20, and it has 500 sounds in it.
I was reflecting, the company's been in business for 19 years, and you've been doing music for a while. How is the business side, as opposed to the creative side, but how's the business side of music changed in your world over the last, say, 5 years? Can artists still make a living with music?
Yes, artists can still make a living doing music. They just have to keep perfecting their art and keep touring and keep building. The one thing the most important thing to remember is that when you kick it into the consumer side, where, it's not just pro audio anymore. Now, anyone with an iPhone or an iPad, an iPod Touch, or an Android can now make music. Where the software and the hardware used to cost a lot of money. The interfaces cost $400. The software costs $500 an app. Now it costs $20 for an app, or it's a free app. And then the interface, at the very lowest is $39 for an iRig. So guitar players can plug into their phone. The very first iPod commercial was someone playing their phone with a guitar was iRig and Amplitude. In that time, there's been over 25 million downloads of Amplitude in the USA alone.
But I was just thinking, in the controversy over the last week over Apple Music and its non-payment and ultimately payment of royalties, the business side and the streaming, the amount of money that artists receive from streaming sites is so small on a per song basis that the way to make up for it is through volume, having lots of people listen to a song. But many artists aren't high-volume artists. What do you recommend they do to get their music heard so that they can earn a living? Or is it all just concerts?
I believe in the power of just creativity and pure talent. And if you really are good at what you do, you're going to see every part of it. And some musicians out there, they're just musicians, and that's all they can do. But some musicians out there have a little bit more sense, and they're trying to market themselves. But truly, playing out and getting yourself out there is the best way right now to be able to make a living at what you're doing. Because, monetizing the system of, record sales has definitely decreased, revenue overall. I mean, all the major record labels are, I don't want to say anything bad about them. I'm just saying they're not the moguls they were before. So at this point, you have to think, touring, you can make a lot of money.
There's a wide spectrum of musicians that are recording, and you're on the electronic side, and it ranges from that all the way back through traditional music. How important is it for musicians to keep up on the constantly changing technology, or can you adopt a technology and stay with it for a while?
The best thing for musicians to do now is to embrace technology for what it is. You have a computer in your pocket. It's a phone. It is better than a computer that you had 3 years ago, a laptop. So you also have the ability to plug into that phone with any connector that you need. And you can record and do everything, and you can even use web applications with other people around the world to collaborate. You can upload it all through TuneCore. You can be your own record label, and you can make your own money. You don't even need to you don't have to have a middleman. You can call up the venue yourself, send them your demo or just one song and get a gig. They're just waiting. The booking agents are just waiting for talent to come in. When we were doing EDM, when I was doing EDM, that's what I did. And we got booked every time.
And what projects are you working on next? What can we look forward to from a musical point of view from you?
Well, I recently got back into playing acoustic guitar because IPM Multimedia has come out with some interesting stereo field night stuff. And now I can just set up an iPhone and write on my iPad script, and then just sit there and play and come up with ideas on the fly. And then I replay it. I'm like, you know what? This is good. I think I want to like keep this and then build upon it. So then I'll take the audio out of that and I'll go and I'll create on top of that. So when you have the technology available to you, even if it's just a short iRig mic feel, you know, or even just an iRig mic cast, which is like a $40 microphone, you have your options are limited. But creativity is all in the mind of the person. And making music is all about your emotions. So wherever you are, mobility is key. So if I'm in a hotel room or I'm in New York City walking down the street, as long as I have my phone, as long as I have a microphone in the back of my pocket, which is just an iRig mic field, I'm already ready.
And
I can do vocals.
And Starr, what website can people go to learn more?
If you would like to know more about IK Multimedia's products for mobility and music creation, the apps and accessories for Android, iOS, Mac, and PC, please visit ikmultimedia.com.
That's ikmultimedia.com. Starr Ackerman is with IK Multimedia. Starr, thanks for joining us.